Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem HaRakakadash. The one to the apostles and elders, great most on all while. Shalom to the brothers to the wax, sharing truth. Got this article on the Washington Post. Really, it's just going into the, as they call them, celestial events, let's say, that are going on in August. And it's a busy month, and then considering what's been turning up with what's it called? What's the thing I was thinking of, man? With the war between Ukraine and Russia, how that's been been cranking back up, and we'll see with the Karagma. It's funny, like Twitter turning to X, and then that basically being like the new branding for trying to create that all-in-one app, like China has with like WeChat. Was it WeChat? It's like Alibaba, and I believe it's called WeChat, where they have like, they have your bank details, your online social media, video sites and whatnot, all in one spot. On your phone. So when you make payments and whatnot, it will go through, all through that one space. So that's basically what they've been trying to do with X. So it's like, as these things, it's heating up. It's August. We'll see. It's the month's obviously just gone into it. But okay, it says blue moon, Perseid meteor shower highlight busy August in the heavens. It says August is going to be a busy month in the heavens. We'll have 2 full moons, the year's best meteor shower, and although we will lose sight of 2 planets, 2 more swing into view. Twice in a month or once in a blue moon. The month's first full moon happens at 2:32 p.m. Eastern Time. August full moon is traditionally known as the sturgeon moon here in North America, because the continent's largest freshwater fish are beginning their spawning season. Other names include the grain moon and the corn moon. It's funny, grain moon and corn moon, because with the what is it? Russia restarted up the blockade on the fuck was it called? Started up the blockade on the grain coming out of Ukraine and Russia again. So that's something that will again have a knock-on effect. Last time it basically hit everything, because it impacted by restricting other countries exporting grain, and then knocked onto like certain poultry and whatnot, because grain's used for feed as feeders, various other things. So it's not just that you ain't gonna get bread. Bread's gonna go up in price or whatever. Any kind of grain based, certain oils and whatnot gonna go up. It's also that other things are gonna be affected. So but this month there's a bonus moon. The second full moon will occur August 30th at 9:26 Eastern Time, and is one of 2 types of blue moons. This term applies to either the second full moon in a calendar month, as we have this year, or the third full moon to occur in the astronomical season between equinoxes and solstices. That has 4 full moons. This second type of blue moon will occur on August 19th next year. So it's funny, the other ones coming in as well. So it says both of these months' full moons also happen to occur close to the time of the moon's closest pass to Earth in its orbit, known as perigee. Some people like to refer to perigee moons as supermoons. These moons appear about 8% bigger and 16% brighter than an average moon. So supermoons as well for this year and next year. So you got blue moons, you got supermoons. It's looking like it's a lot of the signs in heaven, and highlighting it. Why? Because I read this, 2nd Esdras 9. So I'll start from verse 4. So it says, "Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Yeah, all that's made has a beginning and end. The end's manifest. We're in the midst of that end. That end of the current world is the beginning of Jacob's world, basically being, coming into being. Because that's why you have the kingdom of heaven, basically being spawned out of the elect. The kingdom of heaven's within them, and it's being built up. Then it's gonna be manifest on the earth after Esau. His system gets wiped out, gets nuked, gets zapped off the face of the earth by Yahweh and the angels. That's when the next kingdom will manifest on the earth. So it says, even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. Yeah, endings and effects and signs. And that's the thing is the signs in heaven. That's something that's always tied to, things coming to pass. Keeping an eye out for them signs in heaven, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing these, not just with the celestial bodies, but also with the chariots. Because you had I've not looked into it, but you also had another dossier, let's say, come out talking about the chariots. Because why? Because now we're in the end game now. We're in when the chariots, Yahweh Shai's return. That's on it's on the wise. So then what does that mean? Esau's got to get in the minds of the people like, yo, when this goes down, you essentially wants them to walk in lockstep with essentially being against it. Because why? That's the MO that's been built up. That's what's been built up over time. Always in these different forms of media, these movies, these TV shows, whatever. When they have the aliens come, it's like the alien invasion comes. Then the U.S. military goes out and blows them up and blah blah. Independence Day and whatnot. The usual, what's the term? The usual, like storyline or whatnot. The usual narrative. But hey, these things like that usual narrative. That's not how it's gonna go down. That's what Esau's trying to make happen. That's what he desires, but. It's been prophesied, it's been spoken of, the word's gone out on how it's going to go down. Esau's going to get cooked. It says it says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So yeah, those are the elect. They're going to be saved from it. They're going to be able to see the salvation. You have some of those where they might be put to death. They might be caught up by Esau. You might have to go through. You're going to have to go through hardships. You're going to have to go through the fire, basically, to be refined like that fine gold. But regardless of what you've got a certain weight allocated to you within that. If you have the elect, then you're going to endure. You're going to make it through. You're going to receive your reward. And then Esau's also going to receive his reward. And that's what these signs are showing, man. So I'll read a bit more, because it goes into, a lot of these things. These are different, various forms of high holy days, man, as well. So it says, August 1st was once a special day in the pre-Christian Gaelic culture, one of the 4 cross-quarter days that mark the midpoints of the astronomical seasons. And a lot of these different, these different what's the term I'm looking for? Not Wicca, pagan. These different pagan observations. A lot of these were folded into modern Christianity, and then you have it like being observed now. Like it'll mention like May Day a bit further down, like Beltane, Samhain. These different days, they're upheld because in their modern form, it'll be like Halloween, or May Day, and whatnot. Because why? They basically took those pagan forms of worship and rolled it in, and now people are just emulating it, not knowing what they are, giving reverence to things they don't know what they are. But these people observing those things, that feeds it. Well, that feeds into a lot of what the elites do as well. How they kind of line things up. They'll go by the heavens. They'll go by these different ordinances that have been set up because that's where their power lies on the left hand side. So it says what astronomical casinos known as Lug Nasad. It was widely observed in Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and the Isle of Man as the first of 3 harvest festivals. When Christianity arrives in these regions, the day became the feast day of St. Peter in Chains. Yeah, it just got rolled in. So it subsequently evolved into Lammas or Loaf Mass. On this day, it's traditional to bring the first loaf of bread made from the first crop of the season to the church for all to share. Unlike the other cross-quarter days that we know as Groundhog Day, May Day, and Halloween, Lammas isn't widely observed in the US, but it's still popular in Britain and marks the traditional start of the summer holidays in many parts of Europe. And yeah, Britain keeps a lot more of these ancient high holy days, and they'll get together and observe. That's why it's like the fuck is it called, man? What's that place called, man? Stonehenge. People be rocking up in Stonehenge. Hella pagans be getting up in there on these different ordinance days. Because that's there's hella people that are still in that old spirit. People out in the sticks that keep these things, but also it's popularized now. It's become hip. It's become in, and it's why, because now we're coming to the end. Now it's Esau's given license to do all kinds of madness, to do these observations, to feed into these different forms of wickedness. But what's your reward going to be? You're going to receive the reward of being hand in hand with Esau. But then, like it's read, the righteous is going to receive the righteous reward. So it says what? Prepare for the Perseids. So it says go out on almost any moonless night in August, and you're bound to see a few shooting stars. Go out on the night of August 12th to 13th, and you'll see a lot of them. This is the night when the annual Perseid meteor shower reaches its peak, and a single observer at a dark sky location can expect to see between 50 and 75 meteors in an hour. So yeah, a meteor shower as well. All these things. What? It's signs, man. Because there was a. So it says the Perseids are so named because they point in the sky. The point in the sky from which they appear to originate is near the constellation Perseus, which rises in the northeastern part of the sky in the late evening. Viewing the meteors requires nothing more than your eyes and a dark sight. I like to use a beach chair and put my feet in the northeast. This gives me a nice view of most of the sky. Perseid meteors move swiftly, flashing by in mere instants. So I said what? Saturn returns and Jupiter waits in the wings. We had bid farewell to Venus in July, and Mars is now becoming difficult to spot in the bright evening twilight. Fortunately, Saturn returns in a nick of time for us to view in our telescopes. I was like, Saturn as well. That's, associations with Satan and whatnot. That just is what it brings to mind. So then, these are the things that will be observed by the elite, because why? They're the wicked on the left hand side. They're basically going into following their ordinances through the left hand side. That's why they'll have their different events, different get-togethers. You watch like Eyes Wide Shut. They go into how these guys do their different ordinances and whatnot. So it says what so Saturn comes in. There was something. What was it? Small as particles, planet aerobatic rings. So giant Jupiter rises after midnight at the beginning of the month, and as September opens, it will be prominently placed high in the western sky. So Jupiter's big, brash, and bright as celestial objects go, and it offers something for anyone with a little optical aid. A steadily held pair of binoculars is enough to show the 4 moons first described by Galileo in 1610. They change their configurations from night to night, so they're always fun to watch. So yeah, they have all these observations, and this is the thing is Esau tracks the heavens, and it's they're of significance too. But then it's the thing is they have significance as well to us. But then, we're dealing with it righteously. We're not upholding ancient pagan high holy days on them. We'll observe and know, like, okay, this is a sign of things to come, because the stars, the celestial bodies serve a purpose. So read this, Luke 21. Yeah, and 11. So it says, "What and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before these they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, and delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake." Yeah, so these signs in heaven, sign of what? Prophecy being fulfilled. Prophecy basically being ready to take place. That's a big part of what these signs serve as. Because even on top of that, I read this, Genesis 1:14. It says, "And the powers said, let there be light in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." So even the dividing of days, years, months, these things are all what the celestial bodies were set up for. But then as well, it's signs in heaven, the blood moons and whatnot, to let you know of, hey, what's getting ready to take place. And it really shows the way it's been intensifying, like with the super moons on the regular and whatnot. Let you know this thing's close. So I read this, Deuteronomy 6:21. It says, "Then thou shalt say unto thy son," well, let me start from verse 20. So it's Deuteronomy 6:20. "And when thy son asketh thee in time to come, saying, What mean the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which the Lord Yahweh our power hath commanded you? Then shalt thou say unto thy son, We were Pharaoh's bondmen in Egypt, and the Lord Yahweh brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand." And yeah, the thing with Egypt as well is the bondage we're in now. That's basically going to be, as Egypt spoken of in the scriptures, even just in general to this day. People still, your average, they don't have to have read the Bible ever, but they'll know about Moses, they'll know about Egypt, they'll know about the exodus of the Israelites and whatnot from Egypt. These things will be known. But then what do you call it? These things will be known to them. Because why? Because that's how much the fame that story's gained. That's how much significance it's gained with throughout history, to even be remembered and spoken of to this day. But the salvation we're going into now is basically going to be the one to replace it as that story. It's going to be known of the Israel getting saved out of the lands of the north. That's what's going to be spoken of to that degree. They're going to be speaking of those members of the elect, Yahweh Shai. Hey, they're going to be going into detail, man. Because why? It's basically going to be on that same scale. It's going to be on scale to outdo what happened in Egypt. Because Egypt was on that scale to where it had that significance and wasn't forgotten. When you go into the other nations afterwards, they'll most of them didn't want to lay hands on Israel, because why? They knew the fame had been gained for the name Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, B'Hashem Rakakadash. That fame had been gained. And it was only Amalek that came through and then ended up laying a heavy curse upon himself, man. So it says, "And the Lord Yahweh showed signs and wonders, great and sore, upon Egypt, upon Pharaoh, and upon all his household before our eyes." Yeah, them signs and then wonders. And that's, part of that as well was the darkness as well. That heavy darkness. because those signs and wonders, it lets you know. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is basically making moves, man. Because it just as with Egypt, where is what the signs and miracles basically heaped up to where it was like, yo, we're gonna have the night of the Passover, where what passed over the Israelites, but then what the Egyptians got smoked, man. The firstborn got taken out of them. Hey, you're gonna have it build up and basically culminate on this side as well. And it's really gonna be what main things of World War III, the rice grain, that karagma, that's gonna be the main one. That's gonna be a big way of how people are gonna mark themselves. And then when they take that, they're basically line themselves up, man. They've trained, a weapon. They put a sight in their back. Sorry, they've trained a sight in their own back. For the angels, for the judgment, man. They're marked. They're marked. They're set to receive a judgment. For partaking. So finish on this because it really sums up, difference with how. The pagan view, the carnal view of most people, now the people that will be into, Wicca, paganism, witches and whatnot in the modern day, where they're, giving honor onto various different things, onto these celestial bodies. But then that ain't what, for us, we know, hey, the heavens is for signs of the times, man. It says what? Jeremiah 10:2. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the sign of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. Well, it says what? Be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Because we ain't meant to be looking like, yo, we see this, and it's like, oh no. When you deal with the same with the chariots, it's like the chariots, when you're dealing with the heathen, for them it's well, it says what? It's for him that cutteth off, for him that lies and steals, I believe. Or I'm messing up the word, but I think it's for him that steals as well. So it's basically those that are out here, what's the term? Looking for, that are indulging, let's say, in all these various forms of wickedness. For them, it's gonna be a rawness, man. It's gonna be cold. They're gonna be all kinds of jacked up. But then what for Israel, for those in the faith, for those in the know, it's gonna be beautiful. You see the chariots, you're like, yo, Barak for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You see heathens getting plagued by them. You're like, yo, Barak for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And then, but then what? That's why it's these signs in the heavens. It's not to our dismay, it's to our delight. We're seeing them like, yo, Barak for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. We know it's coming, it's close. It says, for the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen of the axe. They deck it with silver and gold, they fasten it with nails, and with hammers they move not. Yeah, so these men are basically following after those ancient customs, and it's going into Christmas, which is one of the key ones. Then what? Even Easter goes to what? Ishtar. They even like May Day. These different solstices and equinoxes. These things are observed, and people they don't even know what they're observing. You're gonna have your kids dressing up as creepy crawlies, as goblins and ghouls and demons, and running around saying trick or treat, giving honor onto something you don't even understand. But hey, that's what these things are for the heathen, and among J, you a hella J that counted as heathens, man. They're maneuvering like heathens. They're basically just within the world. They're not going to wake up to the truth. They're counted among it. It's a dismay unto them, but hey, that's why it's when the judgment comes through, it comes as a thief in the night, because these guys can't discern the signs, man. They've not been given the sight, to basically peel it apart and be able to make sense of it. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.